This is the drive home with
Zac
and TT for the Millwall drive home. Driving home from Bloomfield Road, where it finished Blackpool 1.
Millwall 0.
I normally try to be very upbeat and positive, but I am not today. 4 hours left of the journey, even after getting past the M55 closure. A long way to go. We're on the M6. To be fair, we had a good night in Blackpool. We stayed up there last night.
Brilliant.
Had a few drinks with some really nice fellas last night. The Millwall family. Went to see the town today. Zac didn't really fancy going up it.
No, bit too tall for me.
And I always thought that this weekend was going to be sparked by the football, and so it was. Please put your comments in below. Tell us what you think. The support for the last video was fantastic. We really appreciate it. If you can drop a like on the video as well, that would be greatly appreciated. We started with Bartosz in goal. We played we basically played 4-4-2, but it didn't look like we were playing with any kind of shape, and I'll get into that in a minute. But we had Bartosz in goal. Right back was Danny McNamara. Centre backs Cooper and Hutchinson. Left back Scott Malone. Left back was Murray Wallace. Left midfield was Scott Malone. We then had three central midfielders in Billy Mitchell, George Evans and Kefton Beld, but Evans basically played as a right midfielder, which meant that as a shape we were all over the place. And then we had Bennick and Bennett up front. We just looked all out of sorts. The players didn't look like they knew what they were doing, if I'm completely honest. Like how are we going to play today? What's the plan? Are we going to try and build through the thirds? Are we going to try and play direct? Are we going to play into the channels? Are we going to keep possession? Are we going to look to break? We just didn't seem to have an idea of how to play, and we gave the ball away so often. So many times the ball into midfield got bounced back to the defence, and then we lost the ball. And I don't think it's actually individuals' fault, because it's too easy to go, oh, the players need to take responsibility. But ultimately, that's from direction. That's from the coach. If all the players are looking around at each other, and it's, I always think, if you start seeing players arguing on the pitch, and one's going, oh, but I want the ball to feet, and other one's going, yeah, but I thought we were supposed to play. They'd look like they didn't know what they were doing, and that's makes it even more frustrating. Where you follow a team up and down the country. Do I think they put in an effort today? Yeah, they did. Yeah, of course they tried, but they just didn't seem to have any kind of game plan, any kind of idea how he was going to break down a Blackpool side that set up also with 4-4-2, but they had pace on both wings, and effectively that's what got them the goal, because otherwise they weren't much good either. But we are really poor. We are really poor at the moment when we play games like that. The first half of Nottingham Forest we were okay. The Palace we weren't too bad. But this is another away game. We weren't particularly great at Bristol City. Now we've come away again today, and it was, for everybody there, it's an absolute, and I apologise for swearing, but it's a shit show. It's really disappointing for the people that have travelled all up and down the country to come and watch that. That's not good enough. And I know that people, there's plenty of people at home that would love to go and would give their right arm to. There's plenty of people watching this video, but we didn't get repaid today because it seemed to be aimless. And like I said, that falls on the manager. We created the first chance basically of the game, I think 25 minutes in, fell to Blackpool. It bounced on the, drops to the edge of the box. The Blackpool player has a shot. I think it got in behind down the left. It come back to the Blackpool player on the edge of the box, who has a massively deflected shot. It was going to go in, and Bartosz does really well to kind of kick the ball away and out for a corner.
And that is why when you're in goal, you always keep a foot back, just in case.
Yeah, it was good from Bart, being switched on, being lively. We then create. It was pretty much nothing. Mason Bennett and Benik Afobe were not on the same page today, but we create a chance, and the ball bounces to Murray Wallace just before half time, about 3 or 4 minutes before half time, bounces to Murray Wallace, and Murray Wallace drags his shot wide.
To be fair, he had to do a full-on 180 while connecting with the ball.
Yeah,
so.
it kind of did swept it round, but that went wide. And we go in at half time and you're thinking, this is where it frustrates you as a Millwall fan. You can see it's not working. You can see we're not in the game in any way, shape or form. So obviously all we're doing is against the team that have won 2 in 11, equally bad form like us. We're just trying to hold on to what we've got, which is 0-0, and hope to nick a goal, but we're not creating anything. You've got Burke, you've got Mahoney, who do come on, and Bury, but they come on after we concede the goal. And it was crying out for the subs at half-time, just changing. Let's see if we can take the game to them. We didn't. Blackpool, Danny McNamara, unfortunately, has got beaten in behind him. It was very direct by the left midfielder for Blackpool. Blackpool gets to the basically level with the penalty spot, cuts it back in. It's a shot that's saved by Bartosz, and obviously it drops to their fella on about 12 yards out, and he just puts it into to be fair, he finishes it nicely, but obviously it fell to him. They weren't going to score in a month for Sundays. Who's coming out of the ground? And we heard a Blackpool fan say, we could have won it 3-0. I don't know what flipping planet he is on, because it was a 1-0 game all day long. They created absolutely nothing after that, and we created one opportunity where Tyler, the substitutions were made. Bury comes on, plays left midfield. Burke comes on, plays right midfield. He took off Bennett. Obviously, Bennett doesn't play 90 minutes. Took off Bennett, which was unsurprising. I'm really surprised he didn't take Malone off earlier. He did take Malone off afterwards for Conor Mahoney. But the Bury does really well down the left, shows desire. Only player on the entire pitch today that had the ball at his feet that for us, run at the defence, cut in on his right, and has a really good shot down low to keeper that puts a good hand on it and pushes it wide. What about what's your thoughts of the game, Zac?
It was woeful. I really didn't enjoy seeing Millwall like that today, because I know that we are a good team. I know that we have that fighting spirit inside us, but today we didn't show that. And the fact that, how old is Tyler Bury?
I think he's 19.
Yeah, 19 years old. He was the only one to have a shot on target, and it was all from him. That shows how much we're struggling at the moment. So Gary Rowett needs to sort out his game plans, otherwise he won't be the most liked person ever.
He's certainly not, and I'm sure social media is absolutely banging up with Rowett out. And like I said, for me, the most important thing is the players go onto the pitch with a plan. With plan A, ideally plan B, plan C if it's not working, but definitely plan A. Today they just did not seem to know what we were doing. We were kept, it was so easy in the first half. Danny McNamara's completely isolated on his own on the right, because George Evans has to keep coming out. So if George Evans doesn't intercept the ball, which he didn't on a couple of occasions, you've got a 2-on-1 down our right side, and it's just it for me, that's basic coaching, basic instructions for players so that they know what they're doing. Like, it's all well and good getting to the, we've got 3 midfielders, central midfielders, but they're not getting on the ball, and they have no outlet. So if Evans comes in, he's got no outlet on the right, because Danny Mack's having to stay back because he's got 2 players on him. It did not make sense. And like I said, I'd always tried to be positive, and today I really am not. I'm properly pissed off with what I've just seen. And like I said, we've now got 3 hours, 45 minutes left of the journey, and it's just not good enough. Who have we got next week? I think we're at home. I can't even remember who it is, but I think it's a tough game. We've got a tough run of games coming up. Obviously, Fulham away is our next away game. I can't wait to see what we do against them. They've been knocking 6 and 7 goals past everyone. We're not normally up. So who was your man of the match today?
I did have one, actually. I thought 2 players done really well, and I thought that them 2 players were Danny McNamara and Billy Mitchell, because they done what they could to keep us in that game.
I don't think you can't give it to Danny, because Danny gets beat for the goal. And for me, I don't think it was Billy's best game either. I want them to do well, but it's really difficult for the players in central midfield to be able to have any. They have no options. They don't seem to link. So every time Billy got the ball, it just seemed to be on his own. He seemed to be isolated, and yet we've got 3 central midfielders on the pitch. But that, like I said, comes from the manager. For me, I think you can't look past giving it to Tyler Bury. Tyler Bury was the only thing that he was energetic. He looked lively. Maybe Tyler Bury, maybe Bartosz for the save that he made in the first half, even though that wasn't great. Like I said, I don't mind losing against really good sides, and Blackpool deserved the win. There's no getting away from that. They deserved the win. But they're not a very good side. But we were a lot worse, and that's why we're driving home down the M6 without a single point. There's only one way we're going to finish it, and that is no one likes us.
We don't care.